I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. Keep it simple, but don't be basic. Today I'm gonna tell you why. What's up, everybody? It's CMP with Craftmaster Productions and Studio12tutorials.com. Don't forget to stop by Studio One Tutorials. Pick up your premium membership. It's 50 cents a day. And if you're here, you're interested in getting a vintage vibe, please go to Studio12tutorials.com/vintage. Studio12tutorials.com/vintage. Get yourself a copy of my free ebook, The Secret to Vintage Vibes. The main thing that I talk about in this ebook, guys, is how to make your DAW sound like a console. Trust me, I have a ton of hardware, I have a ton of software, and I know how to get your DAW to sound like my hardware. Give it a shot. Today, what I want to do is I want to talk about the new Isaiah Rashad song with Schoolboy Q. It's a fantastic song. It's a very refreshing song. You know, in this current climate that we're in, where it seems like everybody's got something to say about how repetitive the music is and who the onus is on to change it. It was very nice to hear, just the song. You can't really put a finger on it, right? Like you could say that that it was like kind of like a lo-fi type of beat, because it's got the loose drums or everything, but then it's got the 808 on it. But what I noticed about it was the chords, and I personally found the chords very interesting. They while they weren't, over the top, they were surprising, right? It was like my brain was trying to guess what was coming next, and it was coming up wrong every time, but everything was sounded, pleasant and musically correct, right? Let's look at the simple chord progression 145. It is the basic building block of so much of our modern music, guys. I have a video breaking down why the 145 is the basic building block and how it is used that way. Plenty of illustrations and audio examples. I'm going to link it in the description. If you guys haven't seen it, it's a real quick video. It's like 4 minutes long. What I want to show you guys is the sauce in these chords, right? So while there's only 3 chords used in this particular song, when I took it to the lab and I went and I replayed the chords and I put it down in the DAW and I looked at it in context with the arrangement of the actual song, what surprised me after the initial shock of how simple and straightforward these chords were and how common the chord progression is, it was how the chords were arranged, right? So, for example, this song didn't start with the 1 chord. It actually started with the 4. The scale is in C sharp minor, right? And they start with the first 2 chords. They're held for 2 bars. They go from the 4 chord to the 5 chord. Now, the next pattern utilizes only the 1 chord. Let's listen to the example. Now, the following pattern picks up with the 1 chord for 2 bars, and then for the next 2 bars, it plays the 4 chord, the F sharp minor 7 for 2 bars. Let's listen to that. Now, the last pattern is just the return to holding out the 1 chord of the scale. All right. So, all together, when you put those patterns together, this is what it sounds like. All right. Now, when we look at this chord progression in the context of the DAW, it becomes a lot more clear why this arrangement works so well together. Okay, the 1, 4, and 5 chords in a scale sound good next to each other in any order, and it always feels like a loop. If you go from 1 to 4, that always feels like a loop. It's resolving, right? If you go from 1 to 5, that always feels like a loop. It's resolving, right? If you go from 4 to 5, it sounds like you're setting up a resolution. It sounds like you're going home. You add the one after that, now you are home. You put another one after that, now it sounds like you're starting something new. Okay. So naturally, if you were just to make a beat and it was just these chords put together with a fly arrangement like this one, yeah, it would sound a little dry. But that's where you take it a step further and you put a melody, you put a counter melody, maybe you put an acoustic bass line, or maybe you take a cue from this song and you put some acoustic drums, played unquantized or with a very loose amount of swing, and then you add in like a sparse 808, but a clean one, right? Nothing that's too oversaturated or distorted. And that will take you to a place where you aren't doing, the same old stuff that we've been hearing for the past 7, 8, 9, 10 years, right? So, guys, if you're interested in more in depth tutorials on subjects like this and personal coaching from me, stop by studio1tutorials.com/sample class. Join my community of up and coming sample makers looking to take the next step in their music and their career. Sample class from chord to composition to cash. With that, I'd like to tell you to keep it simple, but do not be basic, and we'll see you on the next one.